Story. These things used to come out daily. Ochako stepped out of shower. Water dripping from her body splashed on the ground below her. She grabbed her towel and dried herself before wrapping it around herself and heading back to her room. After her training she took a shower which really soothed her. Once she got completely dried and dressed herself, she noticed that the time was past 3. Meaning that her fellow classmates were probably already back at the dorms by now. It didn't take long before she heard a knock on her door. Ochako got up from her bed, and to her surprise she saw all of her girlfriends, and Iida and Kirishima as well. Ochako, may we come in? Mina asked with a very sorry-looking expression on her face. Sure. Be careful. I just showered and the floor may be wet. She let them in, and something told her that this was not going to be a wonderful conversation. Ochako, first off, I want to say sorry about earlier in the classroom. I really shouldn't have pushed you so hard. She bowed her head in sorrow. Please don't worry about it, Mina. I shouldn't have snapped like that as well. I'm just under a lot of stress. This conversation was already making her feel uncomfortable. Uraraka, we are all concerned about you. We have said that in the past, but lately we feel like it's gotten even worse. Iida spike up next. If there's something else that's troubling you, or if something happened recently, we want to know so we can help. We're your friends. Asui was next. Nothing has happened, and also I honestly want to be left alone for the end. Sorry, Ochako. But we already decided, you need a good night out. In fact, I think we all could use one, so we invited the whole class to go out tonight. Momo interrupted her. Ochako sighed as she knew there was no way out of this one. Maybe she was just overacting. She didn't want to push her friends away and she did need to move on from Izuku, and a fun night could help with that, even for one night. All right, I'll go. She agreed to go out with them in hopes of feeling better. Great. Also, we didn't mention this, but we're also giving you a makeover. Girls. All the girls all pulled out some makeup, clothes, hair brushes, and several other things to get her ready. Ochako wasn't huge on makeup. She didn't mind it, but she had a feeling that this was going to be overkill. Come on, Iida, let's go tell the others. Kirishima grabbed his arm and led him out of the room so the girls could get to work on her. Meanwhile, Izuku looked at the mirror as he placed a band-aid on his cheek where there was a cut that seemed to be getting infected. Hey Deku tilde. Toga poked her head through the door and walked in the room with her knife in one hand with fresh blood on it. Izuku didn't say anything as he applied another bandage to another cut near his eye. HMPH. Fine, ignore me, looks like you're going to miss her. As she nearly walked out, knife flew right by her, getting stuck in the wall right beside her. What do you mean? Izuku asked, now facing her with his eyes unseeable due to his hair growing out. He wouldn't you like to know? I don't even think I'm supposed to say, and I think I've already been a naughty girl enough for one day. She brought her knife to her lips and licked a little blood off. Izuku rammed his fist into the mirror, shattering it. He picked up a piece of the broken glass and put it right at her neck, cutting her skin a bit with his own fist, bleeding while grabbing her shoulder with his other hand. Promoted stories. You'll also like. Ide fixed to the power of n. N to the power of n. 511K21K. UDEBETTERIFYOUWEREMINE dot. SSSSG. Number 1I. Love strings check mark. BNHAX reader Onishots. 888K17.3K. Drawing creds of Toga. Fire Acra Carrot. BNHA characters X reader. Dash dash dash. Request status. Closed forever. Dash dash dash. Mature language and content. Any innocent cinnamon rolls please be awa. Bombshell, Bakugo X Reader. 517K13.1K. Love story man. Angst, drama, cheers, everything. Number 2 in Bakugo's Reader the 5th of January 2020. Number 18 in Bakugo Katsuki the 5th of January 2020. Number 5 in Bakugo Katsuki the 8th of January 2020. Number 4 in Bakugo Katsuki January 18th 2020. Yandere MHA 1 shots. Katakana middle dot ideographic period. 29K285. So, this book contains Yandere MHA, BNHA 1 shots and head cannons. Hope you enjoy reading open book. Future hero, Izu Mina. 24.5K371. Characters aren't mine. Izumina is the best ship ever. Takes place after the school trip. Also, 1A is already living in dorms. Disclaimer. The story is not same as in M. Serendipity. MHAX Re. 26.5K268. The universe has moved for us heart without missing a single thing heart our happiness was meant to be. MHA, BNHA guys 1 shots. 16.1K 192. MHA, BNHA guys X reader 1 shots. No smut. SFW. Suggestions are welcome. We'll do head cannons. Enjoy. Toga didn't even react. She just smiled at him as he held the glass at her throat in anger. You know this reminds me of the day that you came here. I was the one who brought you. Only this time I was the one holding the weapon. She laughed a little bit as she used her finger to touch some of the blood that was going down her neck. Shut up. Just tell me what you meant by miss her or else. His eyes showed that he was serious, even if his hands were shaking. I'm not quite sure I remember. Oh, now I do. A little birdie informed us minutes ago that our love was spotted boarding a train with lots of friends. Seemed to be heading to a particular restaurant. I think it was the one you all went to when you graduated to the second year. Quote. She explained, her smile never leaving as she felt her heart race. Izuku's grip got tighter. Tamura, what is he planning to do with her? He asked, fearing the worst. Nothing at all, as a matter of fact, he doesn't even know. Just me and you. A secret between us and the little birdie, but that. Izuku let her go and threw the glass down on the ground and walked out of the room. He had an idea and this was his opportunity. Where you going? You're not supposed to leave without permission. Toga followed him as she was interested. I got something to take care. And as long as you give me permission it's fine. He walked into a room and grabbed a piece of paper and a pen and Toga couldn't help but giggle at his words. True. And I'm very interested. Of course you will be tracked and still heard you know. I would also suggest getting back before Tamura does. He's not in a good mood today. Quote. She licked off the blood from her neck then placed the tracker and wire inside of his skin so he couldn't take it out. Izuku grabbed his outfit and left afterwards. Meanwhile, Ochako looked out of the window on train, watching as rain poured down from the clouds. It summed up her emotions perfectly right about now. She barely spoke a word, only talking when she was talked to and all those conversations led nowhere. Even when they arrived, she didn't talk much despite everyone else was being so cheerful which only made her worse. What the hell am I doing? They all brought me out here to have fun. I know I'm not the only one suffering, but I'm the one who loved him. But I should at least try to have fun, she thought as she poked her spaghetti repeatedly. Ochako, here. Mina slid down her a drink which seemed like a wine or something. Mina, we aren't OL. It's nothing like that, it's just a Shirley Temple which is completely alcoholic free. Give it a try. Some of her classmates also looked her way. Ochako wasn't entirely sure about this, but she was here to have fun, so damn it all. She picked it up, put the cup to her lips, drinking a good amount. Um, it tastes good. She was surprised by the taste. Of course. Wait, I can't remember if that was a Shirley Temple, or a Bloody Temple. Mina put a finger to her cheek. Mina, she yelled, and most of the classmates just laughed from her reaction. Don't worry, Ochako, she was just joking. Toru spoke up because Mina was too busy laughing. Because everyone else was laughing and having a good time, she laughed a little herself. For the first time in months she felt happy, and it was nice to know she still has plenty of friends and nothing would stop her from enjoying this time with everyone. 2 hours later. Man, that was amazing. Hiroshima yelled as they left the place. Shut the hell up, you're being too damn loud. Bakugo screamed even louder at him. Dudes, chill. My ears hurt from you too. Kaminari had his hands on his ears that hurt a bit from the two shouting. Ah, I feel sick. Iida leaned on a wall outside as they walked, feeling not right. I think you had way too many Shirley Temples yourself, Iida. Even if it's not even alcoholic. Ochako gave him a pat on the back to try to help him, which he appreciated. That was pretty fun though. We need to come out and do more stuff like this more often. Mina had her hand pumped into the air. Agreed. Quote. Toru came behind Mina and gave her a friendly hug. After a few more minutes of chats and walking, Ochako remembered something. Aw dang it, I left my purse back at the restaurant. She was in such a good mood now that she must have forgot. I can come with you. Momo offered to go back with her. Nah, I'll be fine. You guys go on ahead, I'll catch up. She turned and bolted all the way back to the restaurant to get her purse back. It was sitting in a chair at the table she and her friends were at. After picking it up, she left the restaurant once again. Sadly, the rain began to pick up again. I wish I brought an umbrella, she thought as she walked forward, and it didn't take long for it to go away. Only the rain went away from where she was standing next to a crosswalk. Above her was an umbrella. Hey, oh no, it couldn't be the one thing she wanted to avoid. She silently prayed to God that it wasn't as she turned around. It was Izuku. Hey, he got a quick fist to the stomach, making him grab it in pain. Ochako turned to run, but Izuku quickly grabbed her arm and threw her to the ground. Uraraka, please just listen to me, he begged of her. She responded by trying to sweep his leg, which he jumped over. He was going to have to fight a bit to get her to listen to him, it seems. It already hasn't started the way he wanted it to. I told you before, Midoriya. If I ever saw you again, I won't hold back. She quickly got up and threw a lunge at him, which he blocked using his arm. She tried to thrust her knee against him, but he blocked that with his other arm. So instead she then headbutted him in the nose, sending him back a bit. Izuku rubbed his nose as he felt a bit of pain, but Ochako quickly charged at him, throwing another punch. Izuku had enough and he knew he didn't have much time. He ducked her punch, grabbed her neck, and forced her down an alleyway before pushing her up against the wall. But he only out enough force to hold her there, not to cause her any pain. You ready to listen? He asked as he held her in place. She shook her head and tried kicking at him to no avail. I told you, Midoriya, you're a villain now. Any past relationships we had don't matter anymore. And I also told you I wouldn't hold back. She kept punching and kicking at him, trying to get him to let go. You don't mean any of that. Not one word for even a second. He looked deep in her eyes as he spoke. And what makes you think that? She felt so much of her emotions start to come face. The fact that you haven't used your quirk. If you really don't care about our past relationship, or if you really weren't holding back, you would have used it by now. He explained, and Ochako stopped kicking. Quote dot dot dot. I hate you. She couldn't even look him in the eye. She was so pissed at him for everything. I'm sorry, but I don't believe that either. Let me guess, you haven't even told anyone, not even Bakugo or Hiro, that you saw me, have you? He asked, to which Ochako didn't respond. Regardless, I just want you to listen to me. 5 minutes. And if you still feel the way you do now, I promise I won't ever come to you again. Just 5 minutes. He knew he had less than that, but he really needed this conversation. Ochako looked at him as she thought for a bit before deciding. You get 3. You here for even a second more and I scream for help. She sorta agreed to his terms. Izuku put her down on the ground and let go of her body. Thank you. Now I need to ask you something. He got much closer to her. What? Ochako was still very annoyed by his presence. He suddenly grabbed her hands. Do you still love me? He asked very seriously as he stared into her eyes. Ochako was taken aback by this question. She thought he was going to ask her to come be a villain with her again. Do you love me, Uraraka? I want an honest answer. It's drove me nuts to think that you might truly hate me, and I'm sorry about what I've put you through. But deep down, can you really hate me? He asked once again, and he waited for a response. Ochako started to cry. Things were just so complicated. She felt so much pain, sorrow, and sadness. But deep down, she knew how she felt about him. You're a villain. You're my enemy. I've seen the reports and news about you stealing, taking hostages, and breaking other criminals out of jail. And not only that, you betrayed your friends, your mother, your school, heroes, All Might, and me. Every bone in my body should be filled with nothing but hate and disgust for you. And yet not a single one does. As she talked, more tears began to fall. Izuku himself was now crying with her. Am I? Deku, I love you. I love you so much, and no matter what you do, I can't change that. It doesn't matter to me if you're a villain. It doesn't matter you've done crimes. It doesn't even matter that you broke my trust. I don't believe that's you. You're my sweet, kind, nerd Deku. That's who I fell in love with, and that's who I believe is still you. Deku, please. Come back to UA. Come back to Bakugo, Iida, your mom, and me, please. Her tears were all over the place and her heart felt like it couldn't take any more as she let out how she truly felt. Izuku couldn't take it any more himself. He grabbed his shoulders and he placed her in a big hug, which she immediately accepted and hugged him back, crying into his chest. She missed him so much. After about a minute of hugs, Ochako got off his chest but didn't break their hold on each other. She looked up into his eyes, and they were completely full of guilt and love. Without thinking, she rammed her lips into his, and he kissed back as the rain poured heavily on them. Izuku reached up to her cheek and tucked a strand of hair behind her ear and deepened the kiss. He missed her so much, and he never thought he would get to kiss her again after the last time at her room. Ochako placed her tongue inside of his mouth, which he gladly accepted, and they wrestled around for a bit before breaking it up, both of them now taking deep breaths but still holding each other in their arms. Izuku felt his phone buzz right then. He fished it out of his pocket to see a message from Toga telling him time was about up. Izuku let go of Ochako's body, though he kept her hand in his hand. Deku. She didn't want him to leave her again. I'm sorry, but I have to go. I love you, Uraraka. He took his other hand and placed in hers. She felt something being placed in her hand. When Izuku let go, She noticed it was a slip of paper. Deku what I she immediately got punched hard in the stomach, knocking out the air out of her and making her fall towards the ground, with Izuku grabbing her before she could make contact. Sorry Ochako, I couldn't let you say anything about the note, else they would have heard you say that. Despite having a good reason to knock her out, it didn't make him feel any better. He leaned her against the wall, took her phone, and dialed 911. He gave her a kiss before on the cheek before heading back to the villain's lair. He was already late and he knew he was going to need more bandages later. Deku, Ochako shouted as she woke up. First thing she noticed that she wasn't in the alleyway anymore, she was in a hospital bed. The note was still in her hands. The door to the room opened and a doctor walked in with a clipboard. Hello Ms. Uraraka, how are you feeling? The doctor asked as she took a seat next to the bed. My stomach feels a bit sore, but fine. What happened? Ochako tried but she couldn't remember anything past seeing the note Izuku placed in her hand. You were attacked, though strangely the hero said that you weren't hurt much. Also nothing seems to have been stolen, so whoever did it didn't want to hurt or steal from you. They brought you here as a precaution, and if you please fill this out you can leave. The doctor handed her the clipboard and left to check out some other patients while Ochako worked on. But before that she quickly unfolded the note. It said, Ochako, it's me, hopefully I got this to you in time. One of the people who was watching me didn't put a camera on so they didn't see anything, only heard. So if you tried to say anything about this note when, and hopefully I did, give it you I likely knocked you out. Sorry if so, but I couldn't let them hear. I want to let you know I'm not doing this because I want to, in fact I don't. I hate it where I am, I'm being forced to do this. I miss you. I miss my mom, All Might, Kachan, everyone. Quote dot. Ochako started to tear up as she read. She felt so relieved. They have several hostages, one of which was already killed because I said I wouldn't cooperate. The note was flipped over so she could continue reading. If I don't do what they want they may kill more. I haven't killed anyone yet, hardly harmed anyone physically, but I still fear I may have to one day. I don't want that, but I'm going to find a way out. Please don't tell anyone. Just give this to All Might. I gotta go. On my way to see you. I love you, even if you don't. With that the note ended. The door to the room opened back up. Ms. Are you alright? She noticed that Ochako was crying and smiling happily. Once she signed everything and left, Ochako placed the note in her pocket as she began to walk back to the school. Deku, hold on, I'm going to save you. She thought as she was now filled with determination to save him. I really hate when a manga is announced in my country, only for it to be digitally only with no physical release.